From the Big Apple, it's time for Braves baseball. Atlanta's playing very good ball on the road. They've split 4 games so far in Chicago and Boston. Now another challenge. They try to get even with the New York Mets, and they welcome back a familiar face. Mike Foltynewicz is in New York. He will make his 2016 debut for the Braves in Game 1 of our series tonight. Hi again, friends. Chip and Joe, welcome to Citi Field, where after a day of a flurry of roster moves, the biggest move is Mike Foltynewicz. The flamethrower is back on the mound for the Braves and hopes to claim a roster spot and a rotation spot as well.
And he's healthy. After the rib surgery last year to help ease blood clots in his shoulder, Mike Foltynewicz got a late start in spring training, so he was sent to Gwinnett to try to build up his arm strength, and that he has done. He's pitched very well for Gwinnett, so the Braves are excited to have him back, making his first start this year in a Braves uniform here at Citi Field. Last season with the Braves, 4-6, a 5+ ERA, but a lot of strikeouts. The problem for Mike last year was walks. That also was something he was trying to deal with at Gwinnett, but hopefully it will be resolved here in the big leagues. Excellent ERA, 2.05, and a sub-200 average against him.
Mike has a very good fastball, as you know. The man he faces throws a lot of fastballs. That's Bartolo Colon, who was undefeated against Atlanta last year.
Yeah, watch these replays. They're all fastballs. Every one of them's a strikeout, and every one's a fastball. Different grips, movement, and sometimes he'll change some speeds on it and throw a change-up. We love watching this guy pitch, but look what he's done in his career. He's now 42 years old, first in wins and starts among active players, and second to CC Sabathia in a couple of other categories, but he is undefeated in his last 4 starts against Atlanta. We'll see how he fares tonight.
It's time for that to change. Speaking of change, there were lots of roster moves today. When we come back, Kelsey Winkert is with us tonight. We'll talk about the seven transactions made by the Braves before tonight's ball game. That and more from New York right after this.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stock, low price, every day.
Welcome back, guys. It is a beautiful night here in New York for some baseball. And the guys told you we have lots of roster moves today. 7 total transactions, 4 new faces for your Atlanta Braves. Freddie's hoping that these guys can come in from a winning clubhouse over in Gwinnett and and bring that spirit here to Atlanta. Obviously, your pitcher getting the nod, the starting guy, Folty. We're all familiar with him. He's up here. You have Reed Brignac. You have Chase Darno and Matt Tuiasosopo. They are all up here now. John Gant, Jace Peterson, and Chris Withrow optioned to Gwinnett, and Drew Stubbs was designated for assignment. And we spoke to Freddie Gonzalez, and he gave us some insight on the thought process behind all of these roster moves.
Brignac could play. He's played more second base than he hasn't played third base in spring training. He's played most second base since he's been in AAA. A couple of games is short. Maybe a couple of innings is short, and that's it. Darno's played all in the outfield, and we know, and he could play in the infield too if we have to. And the good news that, you know, hopefully everything, fingers crossed, we may be able to get Inciarte back this weekend.
So fingers crossed for Inciarte. As for now, we're going to get used to 4 new faces up here, but stay with us, guys, because we have the starting lineups. And first pitch with the new pitcher on the mound, Folty, coming up right after the break.
Sponsored by Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Back in Flushing, New York for the Braves and the Mets. It's a pretty nice night, all things considered. Gray skies overhead. It's 61 degrees, 69% humidity, a gentle breeze blowing out of the west at 8 miles per hour. The Braves owe the Mets a little payback. New York swept Atlanta back in Turner Field. Let's see if Nick Markakis can get things started against Bartolo Colon tonight. Nick Markakis having a terrific road trip. Reed Brignac will make his Braves debut. Mike Foltynewicz will hit 8th. Malik Smith will go 9th. And the ageless wonder Bartolo Colon, who joined Tom Seaver and Oliver Perez as the only Mets to go 4-0 against the Braves in a single season last year, gets the ball tonight.
His last 5 starts against the Braves, not too bad. 4-0, 3.66 ERA. So the Braves have scored some runs off of him, but he's been given a lot of run support too. 2.54 average against him. 42 years old, 5'11", 285 out of the Dominican Republic in his 18th year in the big leagues. 219 wins in his career in the big leagues. But get ready. Fastball. 0-2, fastball. 3-1, fastball. Once in a while, a changeup or a slider.
So if you're surprised, you might be surprised on the bench.
Yes.
As you look at the Mets defense, it's been very good. Michael Conforto is having an unbelievable last couple of weeks. We know all about Curtis Granderson. He's hit one of the 4 grand slams that the Braves have allowed this year. Kevin Plawecki is behind the plate. Travis d'Arnaud, the #1 catcher for the Mets, is out with a bum shoulder. Umpiring crew in New York. Gary Cederstrom will have the plate. Eric Cooper, Jim Wolf, and Adrian Johnson will join him. Braves are playing good ball on the road. 2-2 in Boston and Chicago. Let's see if they can win this series outright against the Mets, who have won their last 5 series in a row. And we are underway. That's inside from Cologne. 1 ball, no strikes. Nick with 20 doubles, hitting .295 for the year. And a little looper into center field, and he's on board for the 29th consecutive road game with a clean single against Bartolo.
Yeah, they've played their best ball on the road. They're 5-6 overall. Good start here with Nick getting a base hit to center. Cologne can throw that 2-seam fastball to left-handers and make it back up over the inside corner. And Nick didn't let that happen. Fought it off.
That'll bring up Daniel Castro. Daniel at .228. He's had a tough trip. 1 hit in 13 tries. And a strike called. 0-1. Late on the fastball. And just like that, Bartolo's ahead. No balls, 2 strikes. That's got to frustrate you as a hitter. You know it's coming, and still you have trouble hitting.
And it's not 95. It's 85 to 89, somewhere in that range.
I mean, does he hide the ball well? Does it have late movement? Does it have a little cut to it? I mean,
he does have movement. But he'll throw the 4-seamer. He will run it up above your hands. He will work both sides of the plate. And take a look at that. 85% of his pitches are fastballs. No secrets.
That's our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard as Castro tries to move Nick Markakis along here in the top of the first.
Got excellent control. He's only walked 3 in 23 2/3 innings.
Bouncing ball toward David Wright. Friendly hop. Second for 1. Quick turn and due to dug it out. Double play. Castro hits into an around the horn double play. 2 out.
Even his feeds to second base by David Wright are submarine tosses that have a big hump in it as he's throwing it over there. There's nothing stiff about his throws.
We watched the Mets take infield practice today, and both noticed David's best throws are when he's moving.
Yes.
Got a lot of momentum behind the throw that way. As New York shifts, Freddie Freeman cracks the first pitch toward the right field corner. Get up! No such luck. It's off the wall. And Freeman's on his way to second with a 2-out double. He just missed a solo home run.
And he's the one guy that really has worn out Bartolo Colon. That makes him 10 for 21 against him. And he didn't miss the fastball. So the double play, a key part of this inning for Colon.
Who will face Adonis Garcia. Braves have done a good job all year, as you know, hitting with runners in scoring position. They're average at .290. Not many extra base hits. Well, with 2 outs in this spot, a single would do just fine. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bartolo Colon is 42. He'll be 43 on May 24th. 219 career wins. At the moment, he's tied with Pedro Martinez for second place all time among Dominican-born pitchers.
He's thrown him 4 pitches, 4 fastballs, and all 4 have been at different speeds. Starting with the first one that was actually 92.
That was fouled at the plate. And Adonis will get another swing here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Mets are asking, was the ball off Garcia's body while he was out of the batter's box?
Not quite. 1 foot still in the box.
He chased it, didn't get it, and the Braves get a couple of hits but no runs in the first inning. Colon muscled up in that one at 93. Nothing doing for the Braves. Here come the Mets. And now it's Mike Foltynewicz who makes his big league season debut for the Braves tonight.
And he made 4 starts for Gwinnett, a 1-2 record, an excellent ERA. His last start came against Columbus. 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Excuse me, wrong line. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run unearned, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And the key is he throws hard. These guys are good fastball hitters. He does have to use his strength against their strength and make good pitches out of the stretch. They've been swinging the bats so well, he's going to have to make a lot of quality pitches out of the stretch.
Curtis Granderson leads off for New York. And Folty's first. Sunk in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Granderson's hit a couple of homers against the Braves this year, including a slam. As he takes inside for an even count. And right now the Mets are still hitting everything. 31 homers in their last 15 games. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And at times last year, that's something that affected Mike Foltynewicz. He would give up a lot of long balls.
He did that indeed because he didn't have enough of the late movement on his fastball. It was fairly straight.
17 of them in almost 87 innings. And a grounder foul past Tom Goodwin, the Mets' first base coach.
And that was something the Braves talked about in his development, that his secondary pitches would need to improve because big league hitters can hit a fastball.
And now he's gone full to Curtis Granderson. And he pulled a string and got him to swing and miss.
Yeah, 96 to 90.
Yeah,
that's where he dropped down to. That was great. Good start for Mike, who you might notice is a little trimmer than he was last year too. Some of that, of course, from the after effects of his surgery, but the other part of it is just a strenuous exercise program that he went through in the wintertime. Gain a little more flexibility. Said he feels stronger.
David Wright stands in for a New York ball club that collectively is red hot at the plate. That's not the story for David Wright right now. He's got 7 hits in his last 33 tries. That's bounced foul by David. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He'll have all those in his possession, I think, before it's all over, because of the number of games he'll play and be able to pass the Jimmy Rollins and perhaps even the Ryan Howards of the world.
He's gone full to David Wright now. That's the first 2 Mets hitters. Base is empty. 1 out.
Well, he did the same thing to David, 3-2, that he did to Granderson. Backed off a little bit.
He is not wasting any time. High, majestic fly to left. Adonis back onto the warning track. That's gone. David Wright. It's a 1-out solo homer.
I think majestic is a good call on that one, Chip. That thing was a mile high. I thought maybe he hit it too high. No, just too far. His 3rd homer. The team hit 33 homers in April. That tied a New York Met all-time record.
And now that David Wright has heated up, now you're facing their hottest hitter. Michael Conforto has found a home in the 3 spot in their batting order. All he's done in the last 15 games is hit .373. He's hit 4 homers. He's knocked in 15 and scored 14. And oh, by the way, 9 doubles.
Yeah, he's doing okay. And the team is 11-2 since he got moved to the 3 spot in the order. Braves put on a shift for him.
Three balls, no strikes to Michael Conforto with Yoenis Cespedes on deck. Ripped through the shift. So Conforto has his 5th hit against the Braves this year. A clean single with 1 out. And with a 1-0 lead, here comes Cespedes.
I don't know how they rate it, gauge it, measure it, but there's some service that measures what percentage of the balls you make contact with are hard hit. You know, I don't know how you measure that, but Conforto's at the top of the list at almost 50%, and that one was hard hit.
I was going to say, against us, it's 100.
Yes.
He's not missed anything. So here's one of your keys. Foltynewicz out of the stretch with their cleanup hitter, Yoenis Cespedes. He's had a big homestand. Heck, he had a big inning against the Giants on April 29th. Had a grand slam and 6 RBIs in 1 inning. There's a good pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mike's working on a couple of extra days rest. He may be a little overamped for his first start and feeling a little too fresh almost when he's down to 3-ball counts.
Ripped towards center. Smith on the run. He's gone as far as he can. 3-0 New York.
Good trip to the mound by A.J. Brzezinski to talk to Foltynewicz. High fastball. My goodness, you got to be strong to get on top of that 96 fastball up there and hit it that far. Hopefully A.J. went out just to tell him, okay, you ready to start pitching now?
Here's Lucas Duda. And he takes a strike. Well, Bobby Cox said it a million times when he was the manager of the Braves. Big league hitters can time a jet. And by that he meant, doesn't matter how hard you throw, but if it's straight, they're going to figure it out pretty quickly. And Wright and Cespedes have done that here in the first. And Duda took that. For a strike, it's 1-2.
It had a little life on it at the end. Mets have been on quite a roll, and part of it is due to the fact that they score first a lot. 13-3 when they do.
You have Harvey and Syndergaard and Matz and DeGrom with an early lead. That's a very understandable statistic.
Yes.
And Bartolo Colon, the man tonight, already with a 3-0 lead, and we're not out of the first yet. There's another bomb deep to right. Off the facade of the second deck.
Mike Foltynewicz had not given up a home run in AAA. Left-handed batters were 2 for 24 off of him in AAA. They're 2 for 3 here in the first inning with a homer and a single and 3 jacks already by the Mets.
Four runs, 4 hits, 3 of them homers. And here's Neil Walker. Mets have gone back-to-back in the home run column 5 times this year.
I think Duda's been involved in all but one of those.
Right back where it came from, squibbed out to short, and that'll take care of Walker for the second out. And here's Asdrubal Cabrera as Bud Norris, the man who was sent to the bullpen to create this roster spot and starting rotation position for Foltynewicz, begins to warm up.
Now this will take the starch out of any designs you had on making your return to the big leagues and carrying on your success you had at AAA and getting back on track here.
Sharply hit toward left. Garcia can't get it. That's over his head. That's up against the wall. And Cabrera has a double.
Cabrera hit this ball hard, but Garcia, playing in left field for just a second game, took a real sharp angle for it and wound up then making a 90-degree turn back to the fence. Straight across and then back.
So the Braves will walk the catcher Kevin Plawecki and face Bartolo Colon with 2 on and 2 out.
That's got to be a little concerned about Travis d'Arnaud's shoulder. It's his right shoulder, his throwing arm, that was bothering him to the extent that they had to take him out of a game. Not playing tonight. They have not DL'd him, but that might be a possibility.
So the crowd in New York will cheer as Bartolo Colon will step in with 2 on and 2 out. Toward left and foul.
That would have put this crowd in a frenzy because they love watching Bartolo hit. They just want to see him swing so they can cheer his swings and misses. He's 0 for 6 this year with 4 strikeouts. But tomahawk that high fastball.
And the inning is over. But the New York Mets hit 3 home runs. They score 4 times and bat around in the first against Mike Foltynewicz.
Against him, and knowing the guy and knowing what he's about, it's impressive what he's done and how he's been able to. He transformed himself, because when he first came up, he was like the first guy that threw 100 miles an hour, and now he's kind of more of a control and change speeds guys. But he's a good guy, and he's a tough matchup. And I know everyone looks at his velocity and says, "Oh, he throws this much," but the ball moves so much. You have to be good as a hitter and stay disciplined and not try to get too big.
So that explains Bartolo Colon's success. We were wondering how it was possible with basically a one-pitch repertoire.
Yeah, and now a 4-run lead already, so he's got room to make a mistake or two. But you know he'll be around the plate.
This will be career at bat number 63 for A.J. Pierzynski against Bartolo Colon. He has 17 hits. 2 of those hits have been homers.
AJ's talking about try to discipline yourself to not be too big. He's talking about having a big swing against Colon with that movement on his fastball. Stay short and quick to the ball.
That's off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a shot toward the gap in right center field. That's going to get down and bounce off the fence. And A.J. Pierzynski's on his way to second. And for the second straight inning, the Braves have their leadoff man on.
A.J. didn't play yesterday against the right-hander in Chicago. He got hit with a pitch a couple of days ago, you might remember, right on the knee. So he's been nursing that. And maybe a little extra rest helped him, because that had some snap to it and the ball jumped.
So it's the Braves' debut of Reed Brignac. And Brignac takes a strike. Broke into the big leagues in 2008 with the Tampa Bay Rays. He's also been with Colorado, the Yankees, the Phillies. Last year, 17 games with the Marlins. Spent the entire year in the Marlins organization. And as a native of St. Amant, Louisiana, played most of the year at AAA New Orleans.
All 3 guys that were called up position player wise, Brignac, Tuiasosopo, and d'Arnaud, have quite a bit of major league experience. 200-300 games apiece. They've been here. They know what it's about.
Brignac takes strike 3 over the inside corner. Second strikeout for Colon. Astros. Eric Ibar looking for his first hit of the year against the Mets. There's a base hit to left. A.J. Pierzynski will stop at third. The Braves play at station to station, first and third for Mike Foltynewicz.
Set up away. Pitch was away, and he hit it the other way.
But in a way, doesn't that sum up the way things have gone for the Braves all year? They get their share of hits with men in scoring position, but can't score a run off that hit. And now you've got the pitcher up who's batting eighth. And Mallex Smith waiting on deck. Mike does have 3 RBIs, as you see. Let's see if he can help himself. Tomahawk high strike, 0-1. There's the bunt, and Bartolo has one play. Successful sacrifice gets Ibar to second, and Mallex Smith will hit now with 2 outs.
Nice job there by Mike. And as I told you, Colon 5'11", listed at 285. Despite his appearance, his heft, guy can field his position. He's quick off the mound to cover first. Right there, and 2 outs and runners in scoring position. It'd be nice to get 2 right here. Mallex has had a good road trip.
He's 6 for his last 8 at the plate, and he's got his average at 231 now. And he ducked under a strike. Nothing in 2.
Again, you can't give up on that pitch. It's the same thing Brignac did. It's the one that Nick Markakis fought off into center for a base hit.
And Colon strikes him out on 3 pitches. The Braves got a leadoff double from A.J. Pierzynski, a 1-out hit, but could not score their first run. After 1.5, the ageless Bartolo Colon with 3 strikeouts has a 4-0 lead. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's check in with the Braves farm clubs and see what's up.
Well, some good numbers there from Rio Ruiz that we've been talking about from the get-go in Gwinnett. 414 on base percentage, outstanding. Dansby Swanson has moved up to Double-A, and he has not skipped a beat. In fact, he's picked it up a little bit. So good for him. Good start for him at Mississippi.
And I would assume for Foltynewicz, you pretend like this is the first inning at this point. What's done is done. Three home runs, I should say, for the Mets in the first inning. And 4 runs allowed.
Getting ahead in the count will be instrumental too. I'm sure he got a lot of encouragement in the dugout to start over. And it begins with Granderson. Mike's got a good curveball. He didn't use it much in the first inning.
Anderson right on 96, fouled straight back. A fan from Yonkers made the catch.
That's unusual because that's not a good fielding town.
He didn't swing. 2-2. Roll toward first. That'll stay fair, and Freeman will make the play. And Granderson's retired. He's 0 for 2, 1 man down. Yeah, Yonkers is known for its hit and run. Much better hit and run town than just a fielding town. Memory serves on the scouting report.
Yeah, I've heard that about him.
Here's David Wright. A high, towering home run to left for David Wright his first time.
Good pitch.
Starting to mix him in a little more, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mike's averaging about 13 seconds between pitches.
That's quick.
And he just lost David Wright. One on, one out. Here's Michael Conforto. Again, the Braves shifted, and he was still able to rip a single through the right side. Anthony's inside corner, a strike.
Made the jump from Double-A last year for the Mets and made quite a splash with their ball club. Had a great postseason.
Little pop left side, long run. Castro slides and makes a great catch. The Braves were in a shift, and he had to sprint.
He was way over at the shortstop position, so that was a long way to go. Look where he was positioned, and look where he caught it. Great effort by Daniel.
2 outs now, and here's Cespedes. A 2-run homer his first time up. Way high. 1 ball, no strikes.
That's 8 homers and 25 RBIs in his last 15 games plus 1 at bat. He's on one of those tears like he was on when he first joined the Mets.
And he's had plenty of help.
Yes, he has. Mets had won 8 in a row until yesterday and got shut down by Madison Bumgarner. The Giants beat Noah Syndergaard.
This one's hit high in the air to right, but that one's going to stay in the park. Nick Markakis is underneath, and that'll retire the side. Great catch by Daniel Castro. Nice recovery by Mike Foltynewicz. The top of the Braves order is coming up. Well, as Joe mentioned, don't be fooled by the heft of Bartolo Colon. This guy works very, very hard to get it done on the mound. This is just a couple of snippets of his workout regime. Or regimen, I should say. I just get tired looking at it. As we head to inning number 3, Colon will face Nick Markakis to start things off for the Braves, who singled his first time up. Braves have 4 hits, but alas, no runs, and that's a major difference between these two teams. In the first inning, New York hit 3 homers. The Braves for the year have 5. And a shot, diving stop, long throw. What a play by Asdrubal Cabrera to rob Nick Markakis. Cabrera's made only 1 error all year, and he handled a 1-hop rocket, scrambled to his feet, and threw a bullet to first. Good play. And Bartolo likes that.
He's been considered mostly an offensive shortstop most of his career, but that was a nice play on the other side of the ball.
And a strike to Daniel Castro, who hit into a double play his first time. Again, Bartolo Colon trying to make some history for his Dominican Republic countrymen tonight. Ground ball right side. Duda can't get it. Walker can't get it on the deflection. And Castro aboard with a 1-out single.
Daniel snapped that 0 for streak he had going with that base hit in the 10th inning yesterday that led to the Braves scoring the winning run. And a base knock tonight already. That one had some eyes on it, didn't it?
Sure did. Well, it's good to see Freddie Freeman's bat beginning to heat up. He was ice cold against the Mets in Atlanta, but he's got 8 hits in his last 16 at bats on this road trip. And he jumped all over a first pitch from Cologne his first time up and doubled off the right field wall. And his updated numbers against the Mets right-hander, the subject of our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot.
Highest career batting average, right in there behind his former teammate.
And 2. I really liked what A.J. Przinsky said, the scouting report that he had on Bartolo Colon. Velocity or movement, what gives a hitter more trouble?
Movement. You're seeing the difference tonight.
As he just racked up his 4th strikeout.
A bit of a cutter there. Ran in on him.
That's a pitch I wish Mike could learn. Just to get that little wrinkle at the end. Everything seems to be so straight from time to time, and when it is, it gets nailed. Adonis struck out to end the Braves first. And he singles to left.
The Braves are keeping their pace up. 2 hits an inning. That one didn't have a lot on it, and it was up.
AJ has a double already.
Yeah, if he hits one where he hit that double in the 2nd inning, the Braves will cut the lead in half.
AJ's closing in on 2,000 career games. He needs 6 more of those. AJ also needs 10 RBIs for 900. Playing the rover spot in shallow right. And Colon delivers, and it's popped up. Right, left side. A lot of foul ground near the rail is going to have room. And that's going to retire the side. The Braves get 2 more hits, but have not yet broken through against Bartolo. It's 4-0 Mets. bombardment in the first inning.
His last outing was late August. It was discovered that he was having some problem with some circulation up in his shoulder. They removed half of his first rib to prevent further blood clotting and to stay on some medication in the offseason for that, which prevented him from doing any serious workouts. But followed the protocol to a T. And here he is back in the big leagues. But you're right, Chip, not the first inning he had planned on for sure.
Mets touched him for 3 homers. Wright, Cespedes, and Duda. And the Mets first baseman, Lucas Duda, now ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes.
But I don't remember him working quite this fast.
Nice rally. Let's see if he can finish off Duda.
And 2 good pitches. Strength against strength.
Line drive right. Markakis dives and comes up with a beauty.
Nice play, Nick. That's one of those shots that are hit at you that you really do either have to catch it, or with Duda, it's going to be a triple. Somebody else, it might be an inside the park homer because it's hit so hard. It's going to go all the way to that nook back there in right field, and it's going to take forever for Alex Smith to get over there and get it. Great commitment on Nick's part. Good catch.
So Neil Walker is the 15th batter Foltynewicz has faced in the game. He's gone to ball 3 6 times. He's had 5 full counts so far. And again, to illustrate your point, doesn't matter how hard you throw, if you are behind in the count, these guys are going to reel you in.
He's hitting a mark on the inside corner of these lefties better. There's a good breaking ball. I think some of the ones earlier he was overthrowing, trying to throw them too hard. Took a little off that one. Had a nice tilt to it.
Walker was the second out in the first inning. And he got under that one. And Nick Markakis to his right, a step or 2 is there. 2 outs. He's made the last 3 catches. And here's his dribble, Cabrera. He had a double. Sixth 2-base hit of the year for Asdrubal Cabrera.
A few more strike ones too.
He was late, and now it's 0-2. Cabrera's 2 for 2 as he singles to left on an 0-2 count.
Boy, this was a nice swing. 96 fastball, inner half. Kept his hands inside the baseball and got the barrel on it anyway. Really good swing. Short of any stride at all, and just let his hands do the work. Nice 0-2 stroke by Cabrera.
Well, let's stop the inning right here with Kevin Plawecki. He was walked intentionally, and it's popped out of play. Strike 1. Taking nothing away from Travis d'Arnaud, who's the #1 catcher here, there are some who feel that their team may be a more complete club with Plawecki, who's a better defender behind the plate. It's obvious they don't need a whole lot more offense, do they?
No, they don't. They could get away with a player at a critical position defensively and not have the offense.
2 balls and a strike. Plawecki, the pride of Carmel, Indiana. And a slow roller out towards short, and Ibar will take it to the bag himself, and that'll retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. We're off to the 4th. New York has a 4-run lead.
Sports and outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
Lady Liberty shining brightly on this night in New York City. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape between tonight's starting pitchers. A vast difference in Major League experience.
Yeah, I would say so. Starts, wins, innings, good grief. A little tilted to one side, and not just because of weight.
Good point. And I think that's what we all have to remember. Mike Foltynewicz is 23 years old, trying to figure things out here at the major league level, much like Tom Glavine and John Smoltz did. Remember, Tom Glavine's first full major league season, he went 7-17. John Smoltz in his first big league experience, 2-7 in his first 12 starts. He gave up 10 homers in his first 64 innings.
Did he really?
Yeah. Reed Brignac skies one toward left, and Michael Conforto will measure that one up and puts the squeeze on it for the first out.
Brignac was really swinging it at Gwinnett, a .329 average. 3 doubles. But he's no kid. He's 30 years old.
Here's Eric Ibar. His first hit against the Mets was a 1-out single in the second inning. The Braves had runners at first and second with 1 out. And then Mike Foltynewicz laid down a sacrifice before Malik Smith struck out. And that's where that threat ended. The Braves have 2 hits in each of the first innings, but no runs yet. And 0-2. Now, the reason why the Mets are rolling is they have a very nice combination working. They hit a lot of homers and they don't give up hardly any. The staff has given up 11 home runs all year.
That's the best. #1 in the major leagues.
Did he go? No.
But it didn't start rosy for the Mets. They got off to a very slow start. Everybody wondered if they were a one-year postseason wonder. But thanks to their long balls and that streak they were on a road trip that took them into Atlanta, they got back on track in a big way.
Yeah, they started 2-5 this year, and on April 13th, with an off day coming, the Mets were playing the Marlins, and Terry Collins managed that game like it was Game 7 of the division series. It was, as he said at the time, almost a must-win for the New York Ball Club before they went on a long road trip. And they did. They held on, won 2-1, and frankly haven't done much other than win since.
Yeah, but you can see their ERA was still there. They were getting the pitching that everybody expected. They just weren't scoring any runs. But when you start giving this pitching staff 5.5 runs a game, you're going to go 13-3. Milwaukee got a little diamond dry up into his eyes after this foul tip. It rained all day here yesterday during their game against the Giants. There was some doubt as to whether or not they'd even start it, let alone get it in. And they started it in a light drizzle and never stopped, but they were able to play the game. So this field's pretty wet.
1-2 for Eric Ibar, and it's popped up behind short. Out goes Cabrera. He's going to flag it down. Conforto was there just in case. And there's the second out. And Mike Foltynewicz will be the hitter. Mike laid down a sacrifice his first time up. Bartolo Colon leading in his third try to pass Pedro Martinez on the all-time wins list. And a strike.
One of the things that's also deceptive about his delivery, Chip, is it's a short arm action. There's no real pace to it. It just, he's one of those guys that kind of comes out of his ear.
Broken bat.
I wonder whose bat it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But where Bartolo Colon is concerned, you've got to be impressed. No matter what team is your favorite team, you got to be impressed with a guy who at 42 pitches the way he does and is successful at it. With, you know, so many fastballs, he's just putting it where he wants to and putting a little on, take a little off. Trick you a little bit with a slider or cutter once in a while.
It wouldn't surprise me to see him come back and pitch again next year the way he's throwing.
Why not?
Somebody ought to look at him.
How many innings did he throw last year?
Last year he threw 194. He's thrown 190 or more in 3 straight seasons.
Durable.
And effective. That's his 5th strikeout of the night, and he's shutting out the Braves. He'll lead things off in the home 4th.
And Bartolo Colon certainly does have a lot of fun when he plays this game. Who can forget that memorable swing? His Mets teammates certainly didn't.
That prompted the new T-shirt that everybody is wearing in the Mets clubhouse for the big sexy in his swing that had his helmet flying off.
I mean, I'll never forget the shot that we had of him in Atlanta when he came into the dugout from the outfield side of the dugout and was walking down toward home plate, and he just grabbed both glove handles and gave him a shake like he was Santa Claus after a cookie delivery.
Here you go.
I mean,
must be jam.
But don't be fooled, like Joe said. This guy has had an exceptional career that began in 1997 with the Indians. John Hart can tell you all about Bartolo Colon in his younger days, when he won 14 and then 18 games in back-to-back years in the late 90s. And he didn't pitch like this.
No.
He was maybe the Noah Syndergaard of his era.
How about that huge trade to Montreal?
Yeah, you talk about a franchise-changing deal. Bartolo Colon went to the Expos with Tim Drew and Cash for a guy you might have heard of, Cliff Lee, an infielder named Lee Stevens, another infielder you might have heard of, Brandon Phillips, and an outfielder by the name of Grady Sizemore.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah. And a swing and a miss for the last active Expo still standing in the big leagues. And as if on cue, just like the t-shirt, the hat came off with the swing. Foltynewicz got him. Good start to his fourth inning. 1 out.
Gonna have to get a chin strap.
Back to the top, and Granderson. Mike got him swinging in the first and on a bouncing ball to first in the second. He's pitching a little more now, it seems to me.
He's been throwing some first pitch strikes too that have helped him out. I mean, this must be something he talked to AJ about, because sometimes when a young pitcher is just working at this warp speed, the catcher will try to slow him down, get him to kind of calm down a little bit. But AJ's firing those signs down in rhythm for Mike, because that's the way he wants to work.
Granderson to left. Garcia on the run. This one is off the wall. Granderson on his way to second, and he'll stand there with a double. Curtis Granderson just missed a homer. And that's the 5th extra base hit for New York in the game.
Well, just like the home runs in the first inning, in the counts that the hitters were in, you talked about how Major League hitters can hit a fastball, anybody's fastball, and they can. They can especially hit it when they've got the count in their favor. And all they've got to do is sit on that pitch. Tell you, when Garcia stopped and threw back towards second base, I don't know how close it was to whizzing by Mallex Smith's head, but it looked close from here.
Way high to David Wright. Back where it came from. Oh, it's off the second base bag, and it hit Brignac. It'll be a base hit for David Wright. And a painful start for Brignac in a Braves uniform here in the 4th inning.
Well, it just missed Foltynewicz and then popped up off the base and hit him right in the side of the face. Looking at his jaw. Mercy. That ball had some steam on it too.
You can see the welt on the side of Reed's face. So 1st and 3rd for the Mets with 1 out, and here's Michael Conforto. Strike 1. Conforto, part of the Mets' radical roster revision last year around the trading deadline when Sandy Alderson started wheeling and dealing. As Joe mentioned, Conforto made the jump from the Mets' Double-A club to the big leagues and was later joined by Yoenis Cespedes via trade, Juan Uribe, Kelly Johnson, Eric O'Flaherty, Tyler Clippard. And the Mets took off.
There's another young left-handed hitter in this division that gets all the attention, and rightfully so, the MVP, Bryce Harper. But tell you what, this guy doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody when it comes to hitting. He is one good-looking young hitter.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Michael Conforto.
Keith Hernandez, the longtime broadcaster, former major league player, said of Conforto that when he moved into the 3 spot in Atlanta, he said, I think he'll be there for the next 10 years.
Keith would know. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. And headed for the seats beyond the Braves dugout, foul. Count remains 2-2.
When a guy's throwing as hard as Foltynewicz is throwing, and you put a shift on and you still move the 3rd baseman over to the shortstop area, that's a lot of respect for Conforto's ability to still turn on the ball, as we saw in the 1st inning.
Full count. Mike approaching 100 pitches. The Braves bullpen is busy again. Bud Norris was up very early. And he's up again. Swing and a miss. Wow, that ball exploded. And Conforto couldn't stop himself. That's Foltynewicz's 4th strikeout. And it appears that's going to be the last pitch of the night.
That was a good breaking ball.
Well, like in golf, when they say finish with a good one, Foltynewicz finished with a good result here in the 4th inning. He'll depart with 2 on, 2 out, and after a shaky 1st inning, the Braves' young right-hander scattered just 3 New York hits. 4-0 is your score. Bud Norris to the hill after this. Appleton's taken the country music scene by storm, and he's coming to Turner Field Sunday, May 29th for a free post-game concert, part of our Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Go to Braves.com/concerts and get your tickets today. Mike Foltynewicz, 3 2/3 innings of work, allowing 8 hits. He'll give way now to Bud Norris, whose poor starts had him sent to the Atlanta bullpen.
Yeah, he was having a tough time, as that ERA would indicate. He worked out of the bullpen a lot last year after he went to the Padres from Baltimore. So maybe this bullpen action will get him straightened out. 11 walks in 22 innings, part of the problem.
So it's Norris versus Cespedes, who's homered and flied out. And Norris gets ahead of him with a strike.
Bud started the first game of that series against New York in Atlanta, and he had a rough second inning. He gave up 4 runs in the second inning, lasted 4 innings, gave up 5 in all, and lost 6-3. Those 4 in the second inning were the grand slam by Granderson.
Well, he can stay out there for a while. The pitcher spot's already been cleared by the Braves in the 4th inning. Mallex Smith's going to lead off the 5th. But a couple of big runners aboard for New York. Pitch. Ground ball, foul at 3rd. To second. No bad hop for Brignac, and he'll make the play, and that's the end of the inning for New York. They strand 2 more. Mallex Smith leads off the 5th. After the game on Braves Live, we'll recap all of tonight's Game 1 action with the Mets. We'll hear from skipper Freddie Gonzalez and perhaps from Mike Foltynewicz too. As the first pitch hit on the ground. Duda, nice pickup, and there's the speed of Bartolo Colon down the line. He outraces Malik Smith for the first out of the inning. Now Bartolo lost a race with Billy Hamilton on this homestand. He wasn't going to lose this one.
Pitchers are taught to go to the line and then run up the line. He decided to take a more direct route on that one.
He was not going to be denied.
No.
Was he? I'll bet you we'll see that play on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity after tonight's game. One out for Nick Markakis. Nick ought to be 2 for 2 were it not for a great play by Asdrubal Cabrera at short. He would be. And a strike. Other National League action tonight. Cubs start their road trip in Pittsburgh, leading 2-1 in the 5th inning. That's Jason Hamill and Garrett Cole at PNC Park. Reds 6, Giants 3 in the 4th inning at the Great American Ballpark. The Angels are in Milwaukee in interleague play and leading 1-0 in the 5th. How about the Phillies? One of baseball's great surprises to start the year. They start a series with the Cardinals. That one scoreless early in St. Louis. And Markakis just took strike 3. That's 6 strikeouts for Colon.
Just pinpointed it. Nothing fancy about it. One of his better ones of the night at 92.
So base is empty for Daniel Castro with 2 outs. Colon's strikeout high is 7. That came in his 2nd start of the year. He lost to the Phillies 1-0. Well, that's a tough luck loss.
He was on a pace for an 18-hit shutout through the first 3 innings, but he's calmed down since the single by Garcia, and he's retired 6 in a row.
Right back where it came from. And Bartolo Colon with a fastball to first works a perfect 5th inning. Crowd on their feet in New York saluting Bartolo Colon, who's shutting out the Braves tonight.
It's 4-0 going into the middle of the 5th. And guys, 2 Braves today received their NL pennant rings. That's Kelly Johnson and Eric O'Flaherty. They were both members of the Mets last season, and they obviously did win the National League, and they do have the rings to show for that now. They finished 90 and 72 and lost to the Royals in 5 games in the World Series.
Gorgeous ring.
Yeah, Freddie Gonzalez was joking in the media scrum before the game today when Sandy Alderson, the Mets general manager, and Jeffrey Wilpon from the New York ownership group came to the Braves locker room to hand those rings to Eric O'Flaherty and Kelly Johnson. We're talking about how important that trade was to the Mets and how almost instantly those two players changed that clubhouse. Veteran guys who knew how to win. Freddie was joking, saying, well, you know, I got a couple pitchers on your side that we'd be glad to take back if you want to make another deal tonight. And Sandy Alderson and Jeffrey Wilpon, of course, said, I think we're okay the way we stand right now.
I would guess so.
So Bud Norris starts his first full inning in relief of Mike Foltynewicz.
One of the neat things about those rings, they come in such really cool boxes, just gorgeous boxes. And then Kelly said this one, when you open the lid, there's an LED light in there that shines on the ring.
Wow.
I said, that's nice.
You bet. Two balls and a strike for Duda. That's upstairs. Your thoughts on Mike Foltynewicz tonight? Obviously, that was the big story for the Braves, his first start of the season.
Well, I'm disappointed for him because I know he had high hopes to come in here and just dazzle the New York Mets. I thought after the first inning, as you said, he started pitching a little more and using his breaking ball a little more. He was getting ahead in the count more, and his results were better. He only walked one guy that wasn't an intentional walk. That was a real plus. He did go to a ton of 3-ball counts, but he's healthy. The ball's coming out of his hand nicely, and boy, was he working fast. So it's not a great night for him because of the 4 runs, but he's back and he's going to be better.
Here's Neil Walker, and he's a little late. Foul back and out of play. 0-2.
You know, you and I have said this before. That's how you get better, as you mentioned about Tom Glavine. You take your lumps and you learn. And I keep going back to Tom's quote about learning more losing 17 than he would have winning 15 games in AAA. And learning about himself, and that's what will apply to any and all of these young players who come to the big leagues that have such high expectations of. They're going to be learning on the job in many cases. So let's get that job started.
Neil Walker had a huge month of April, drove in 19 runs. That's a career high, and he might just ground into a double play. There's one, and there is 2. Double play. With the shift on, Ibar had to scramble over to the second base bag. But Norris gets a ground ball when he needed one. 2 outs. Now let's see if Norris can solve Asdrubal Cabrera. He's 2 for 2. One more National League, or I guess interleague score of note, but a team in our division. The Nationals, they're in Kansas City and have already jumped out 2-0 over the Royals in the first inning. Gio Gonzalez and Edinson Volquez, the pitchers at Kauffman Stadium. Nationals are trying to sweep the state of Missouri. They just had a great series against the Cardinals. And that usually doesn't happen. That's been
after they got swept by the Phillies.
Yeah. But Washington taking 3 from St. Louis doesn't happen too often, especially going back to their playoff woes of a couple years ago. 2 balls and a strike. And now 3-1. Kevin Plawecki, the catcher, is due next. To right and right at Markakis, and that'll retire the side. A leadoff walk, a double play, and a line out, and we're headed to the 6th. And you give Jason Hamill a lead, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, his ERA is like 0.95 going in. That's a very important series for the Pirates. Just to let the Cubs know that Chicago's not going to cakewalk through that division.
So we'll keep you updated on that score as our game moves into the late innings tonight. Freddie Freeman, Adonis Garcia, and A.J. Pierzynski are coming up. Just 63 pitches for Bartolo Colon through 5. And a ground ball right side into the shift, and Walker from the outfield grass gets his man for out number 1. Well, hope Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux are watching the game tonight. This is a very important day in their professional histories. This date in 1999, one of the great television commercials of all time debuted. The infamous "Chicks Dig the Long Ball" ad aired for the first time.
There's never been a better baseball related commercial since.
Garcia 1 for 2 and fouled back. I love the high five that Tom and Greg had at the end of the commercial walking off the field.
I mean, after that, they both turned down lucrative movie contracts.
Yes.
Studios wanted them to sign.
Greg, though, moved into the sweater modeling industry, where he has made quite a name for himself. Of course, Tom is kind enough to join Joe and me in the booth in Atlanta from time to time when he's not too busy. Fly ball straightaway center. Cespedes going back is going to stop at the edge of the track. Air's got a little heavy and cool, and that's the second out. Garcia, a hard hit ball. 2 down. But the more and more I think about what John Smoltz, Greg Maddux, and Tom Glavine did on the mound and the era in which they did it, the numbers that they put up are even more remarkable. And all three in Cooperstown, and deservedly so. Here's AJ. Colon has set down 9 straight. And just foul at first.
All three of those guys you just mentioned did everything well. They were outstanding pitchers, as we know, but they helped themselves at the plate. They could bunt. They could run the bases. They fielded their positions awesomely. And Maddux was a guy who kept collecting all the Gold Gloves, but they were all good at fielding their position.
Another chance for Cespedes. And Bartolo Colon is rolling merrily along. 10 up, 10 down for him. He's due second when the Mets come up. The Braves will induct John Schuerholz and Andrew Jones into the Braves Hall of Fame at a luncheon on Friday, August 19th. Make sure you get your tickets before they're all gone. All guests are guaranteed to sit with a current or former Braves player, coach, alumnus, or Hall of Fame member. Call 404-614-2310 for more information or to order your tickets today. Bottom of the order for the Mets: Plawecki, Colon, and Granderson versus Bud Norris. That hit the spot. 3-1.
Despite this good run the Mets have been on, the record now 15-8. They're just 7-5 at home. Part of that slow start we showed you earlier started when they were at home.
And Bartolo Colon to the plate again. He's struck out twice. He's so unique in this day and age of baseball. He walks up to the plate. He's just kind of twirling the bat like a baton. He's just flipping the ball on the mound, looking wishfully at the hot dog vendors during the game. I mean, popped up, and Bud Norris with a nice diving play to make the catch. Colon pops out, one away.
Nice play, Bud. On further review, when I mentioned something about a chin strap to help him keep his helmet on, I think it's going to be more like a belt. Nice play, Bud.
He's doing nice work to save the bullpen tonight, as Curtis Granderson bats with a double to his credit.
You know, I know this guy hasn't hit for a big average over the last 2 or 3 years for the Mets, but you couldn't prove it by us. It seems like, and I don't know what his numbers have been against the Braves, but it seems like he's hit 400 against Atlanta.
Well, the notes say his career mark is 232 against the Braves. That seems
right?
Way low.
Maybe it's just the damage inflicted.
A lot of home runs in there. This year he's 7 out of 16 at the plate against Braves pitching. And took a shot at left, and that's slicing foul.
That's when you know you're in a guy's head. And one of those was a grand slam in Atlanta.
Slowly hit toward Castro, who is playing third base, and he steps on the bag and starts a double play with the shift on. 2 double plays for Bud Norris in his 2 innings plus, and we head to the 7th. Nothing. Here are your Toyota key plays tonight.
Well, mostly revolves around the big man on the mound. Locating, elevating, changing sides of the plate. making good pitches when he had runners on base. Little cutter there on Freddie to strike him out. 10 in a row he's set down.
And he starts the 7th with Reed Brignac, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
Glad Reed's okay after taking that bad hop off the jaw.
Off the bat of David Wright. Brignac had David played perfectly right behind the bag. He was prepared to take the next hop, and it bounced off the bag and off his chin. And right off the end of the bat, big swing, and it rolls up the third base line for out number 1. And here's Eric Ibar. He's 1 for 2. Cologne just like he's out on the schoolyard.
It's like a semi-pro game.
Yeah.
It's like got all the guys together and played a game on Sunday. .75 pitches, and we're in the 7th. With all the emphasis on pitch counts, you know, and everybody panics when anybody gets over 100 pitches these days. I always think about that complete game effort Tom Glavine threw at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, which I think was 78 or 79 total pitches.
In the air to center, Cespedes retreats and makes the catch. 2 out.
That, my friend, was some pitching.
And this will be Chase Darno. He'll pinch hit for Norris. Chase's brother, of course, is the Mets catcher Travis Darno.
Got 17 at bats last year for the Phillies. 3 for 17 with a triple. It's hitting .255 at Gwinnett. Homer, 4 RBIs, but 7 for 7 in stolen bases.
Nothing in 2. To the right side, and that's poked through for a hit with 2 strikes.
That'll work.
So welcome to the Braves, Chase. That is the first Atlanta hit since inning number 3.
I don't think Chase is short on conversation. He was greeting everybody today in the clubhouse with handouts of some sort of
his band.
About his band.
Yeah.
And a new song they have out.
It's a very original band name. I'll give him that. It's the Chase Darno Band.
Ah, okay.
And handing out all these, I guess you call them, they look like coasters basically. You can get a free song from his debut extended play offering. ChaseDarnoBand.com/download.
Well, he didn't waste any time. He's in the right city to start handing them out, I guess.
Yep. Alex Smith couldn't stop himself. He's down to his last strike. Foul at the plate. Mets skipper Terry Collins has his club off to a 15-8 start.
Just missed his spot that time, and a good location to go because it looked like Mallix was trying to set up to pull everything. And if you do that, Cologne will eat you alive.
Was in on the hands of Mallix, who fought it off. 2-2.
Went kind of soft away for him, you know, 87, 88 away, and then ups the ante a little bit when he comes in. He'll accelerate to about 91 or 92.
Popped him up and right at Cespedes, and that will retire the side. 7th inning stretch time in New York. Bartolo Colon rolling along.
Stretching here in New York, and you guys, we've been seeing a different infield. It feels like almost every game here for the past few weeks, and part of that was Jace Peterson sent down to AAA. You know, last year Jace was an everyday starter at second. He actually had an incredible first half of the season, and Freddie Gonzalez just wants him to get back to that. He wants him to get consistent at bats. He was only playing 1 to 2 days a week here, and he said, what good is that doing us? What good is that doing him? They want to give him a steady chance to play, but Freddie did say we will see Jace back up here shortly.
You know, I think, Kelsey, that was probably the one that caught everybody by surprise in a way. But for Jace, it may turn out to be the best thing, because just as you said, playing every day will be a better place for him to get a chance to get back on stride with his swing. Plus, I think there are a few things for him to work on. You know, get away from trying to pull the ball quite so much, work on his bunting a little bit, work on his footwork at second base. And he had trouble hitting left-handers too. So some things to work on.
As Eric O'Flaherty checks in, he's the third Braves pitcher of the ball game. He'll start with Wright, then Conforto, then Cespedes. Well, the one good thing about, if there is such a thing for a demotion, knowing the state of the major league club and knowing what the Braves are doing this year, I would hope that Jace would realize this is probably not a permanent exile.
No.
It's never a good thing to go back down from the major leagues, quite obviously, but he's going to get another shot.
No, and your feelings get hurt. You know, you think you've established yourself somewhat after all the playing time you got last year, that, you know, you're a major league player. You feel like you're here more or less to stay, and you're competing. But he had a rough second half, and we didn't know that he had a bad thumb at the time either, but he really struggled the second half of last season and was what he was hitting at the time of his departure, 182. So there's some work to be done.
1-2 for David Wright, who has a homer this evening. And now the count to him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A gray, misty day in New York. A damp, misty evening tonight, where 4 in the first for the Mets has been all they've needed behind Bartolo Colon. Wright, Cespedes, and Duda each hit homers. Those last 2 names went back-to-back against Mike Foltynewicz.
Good outing for Norris. 2 1/3 innings. He did walk 2 guys, but he got a couple of double plays to take care of that.
Wright spanks that towards center. Malik Smith on the run, tracks it down with a great running grab.
Outstanding instincts and a great jump. When you watch this replay, you'll see him turn his back to the infield and run to a spot where he thinks the ball is going to come down right there before he turns around to track it. Absolutely took his eye off the ball and took off running. Well done.
Wright lines out. Here's Conforto. And that found the mark. Strike 1. Game 2 here tomorrow night. Matt Whistler and Matt Harvey. Remember, Matt Whistler debuted against the Mets last year and pitched one of the best ever debut games in Atlanta Braves history. Swing and a miss. And Matt Harvey, who started the season slowly for New York, is beginning to pitch a little more like Matt Harvey last year. One ball, 2 strikes. And Conforto's down swinging. O'Flaherty has 2 outs in a row. And here's our Zaxby's indescribably good play, Yoenis Cespedes tonight.
One of 3 first inning home runs and a no-doubter. Straightaway center field.
Now, when this place first opened, that would not have been a home run here. That party deck out there has been added to make things a lot more friendly for the home run hitters.
The other 2 home runs, however, would have been,
yes,
both Wright's and Duda's would have been home runs in the old surroundings.
They move the fences in from just to the right of the 408 sign in center over toward the visitors and Mets bullpens at the 370 mark.
Not only is that back wall a long way, it's high.
That's to center, and that's within reach of Malik Smith, who puts the squeeze on that. We have completed 7. Top of the order up for the Braves. Time for the bats to get busy. It's 4-0 Mets.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, the Georgia Lottery, and Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Well, a little history for the Mets this year at Citi Field as Bartolo Colon makes his first pitch to Nick Markakis. He will go where no Mets pitcher has gone before tonight. And it is no starter has thrown a pitch in the 8th inning until now.
87 pitches.
Markakis, Castro, and Freeman, the first 3. And that's in for a strike. Up and down, in and out, change of speeds.
2-seamers, 4-seamers, little cutter. Makes it look very simple, doesn't he? He's having a good time while he's doing it. Throwing a nifty little 7-hit shutout. Go in the clubhouse, have a cheeseburger and a beer.
And fouled away. Phillies are winning now 3-0 in St. Louis. Phillies have won 6 in a row, 9 of 10. That's Hellickson and Adam Wainwright, who has not gotten on track for the Cardinals yet. White will give a brief chase, but no play. It's still 2-2. Nick extended his on-base streak on the road to 29 consecutive games with a first-inning hit. He's wearing out that section with the foul balls here.
Well, remember his last time up, he took a called 3rd strike, something he rarely does, where he took a 3rd strike and knew it was a strike and headed back to the dugout. Was already walking that way because he painted the outside corner on him. So he's trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. Trying to cover that part.
Oh, Colon wanted that.
Yes, he did. 2-seamer. Coming back to the inside part of the plate this time.
And here we are in the 8th inning. That's the first time tonight Bartolo Colon has gotten to a 3-ball count. And that's a strike 3 count. 7 strikeouts for Colon. 1 away in the 8th. He's got Nick looking twice. I don't know if that's happened to anybody or by anybody else all year to the Braves leadoff man.
No, I don't think it has. You may not see it the rest of the year on pitches that he knew were strikes when he was taking it. But Colon came right back to that inside corner.
To short. Cabrera's got it. Loads up. 2 down. And the Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman's coming up. He doubled on the first pitch he saw tonight from Colon, but was left stranded.
Showed you earlier tonight that in his last 5 against the Braves, Colon's 4-0, but his ERA is over 3.5. His career ERA is 2.69 against the Braves, and he's 8-2.
High fly to left. Conforto is going to have plenty of room, and Bartolo is through 8. 99 pitches. He should applaud himself. He's pitched a great game.
surge of power. And Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
Joe and Chip with you from New York, where the Mets had a 4-run outburst in the first inning, and that's all Bartolo Colon has needed to this point. Eric O'Flaherty will start a second inning of work. It's the 8th inning. Lucas Duda, the New York first baseman, greets him first.
That exterior shot of Citi Field is a good one because it's right at the Jackie Robinson Rotunda, which is right behind home plate. It's a beautiful ballpark. They did a really nice job. I know part of the exterior design was supposed to harken back to Ebbets Field.
Into the shift and out at first. Duda's disposed of, and here's Walker, and that'll be the last pitch of the game thrown by Eric O'Flaherty. An inning and a third of spotless relief, one hard hit ball, and Freddie Gonzalez has Alexio Gondo warming up. Might be the tall lanky right-hander's turn to pitch. Good job by Eric. 4-0 New York. We continue in the 8th after this. Your Braves take on the 2015 World Series champs, the Royals, at Kauffman Stadium, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. Visit Braves.com/road trip for all of the details. This man's had a very solid season, has he not?
He had a good start, and he had one outing against the Mets in Atlanta and pitched well. An inning and a third, no hits or runs, and struck out 3.
4 of Alexio Gondo's first 11 outings have been more than an inning. Freddie Gonzalez is hoping it'll be 2 batters and then send it to the 9th. Neil Walker, the batter. The Mets second baseman, a quiet night, 0 for 3 with a double play. That's taken low, 2 balls and a strike.
Braves are 2-2 on this road trip. A road trip, I think, designed by the devil because it's so rough. But I mean, the rain out on Saturday helped everybody catch up a little bit. But I think here with the 2 night games here, then a day game, then an off day, there's a little bit more of a normal routine by comparison to the travel schedule from Boston to Chicago, the day games in Chicago. That can be disruptive and exhausting.
Ogando walks the first man he faces. 4-0 New York. Stay tuned for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. We'll have all the highlights from tonight's game. All the offense took place very early. New York first. And here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Walker, by the way, just earned his 5th walk. His first walk of the season came against the Braves in Atlanta, so it's been tough to pass him.
You know what they say, you can't walk your way out of Pittsburgh.
You know what, though? The change for the Pirates, the Mets, and the Nationals, all 3 teams are thrilled with what's happened. With the new faces they have in position. All about Daniel Murphy with Washington. Pittsburgh's about to get Young Ho Gong back. As the runner goes, and the pitch is a strike. The throw is on target. But Ivar in front of the bag. Couldn't get the tag down in time, and it's a steal for Walker. His first of the year.
AJ had no chance. Great jump by Walker, who stole that one on Ogando, who was very slow to the plate.
Yeah, he was 60 feet down the line by the time AJ turned it loose. So that keeps the Mets out of the double play, barring a base running blunder. And an even count for Asdrubal Cabrera. To second, runner to third. Cabrera wanted more than that, but he's the second out. And Kevin Plawecki will try to keep the inning alive for the Mets.
No, I would have to think the Mets, despite, you know, what you're talking about, those moves and the shuffling of players, for them to get Walker to take Murphy's place and for Walker to do what he did in April, despite Murphy hitting about 500 in Washington, nobody's ever looked back for Daniel Murphy. Walker does a good job of turning the double play, which is an improvement there over Murphy.
And he's a free agent at the end of this season, and if they decide not to bring him back, maybe Wilmer Flores can step in and play second every day for them. Kind of like if Yoenis Cespedes decides to become a free agent, they can plug Juan Lagares in, play center field.
They've got protection.
1 ball, no strikes. Plawecki has walked twice and has grounded out once. This crowd in New York tonight announced to 23,847. They've been treated to another typical Mets game. Excellent starting pitching and a whole lot of thunder. 2 balls at a strike. Cubs now open up a 6-2 lead in Pittsburgh. That's in the 7th. Reds 6, Giants 5 in the 7th. In Cincinnati tonight. What's wrong with the Astros? They can't win. 3-1. Minnesota's beating last year's playoff darlings, the Astros.
Not scoring many runs.
Popped up. It's headed toward shallow right center. Malik Smith got there and called off Nick Markakis. Last call for Atlanta. We're off to the 9th inning. Obrado, a nice job. It's 4-0 Mets. If you can't watch the games on TV, now you can stream them on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Braves wherever you go. We go to inning number 9 in New York. The night is done for Bartolo Colon. Joris Familia will come on and try to get the final 3 outs.
Just a little bit curious in a non-save situation. Check to see when his last outing was. Maybe that would indicate that he needed some work. His last outing was on the 30th, just a couple of days ago. So it hadn't been that long since he's been out there. Great outing by Colon. Another fascinating way in the way he handles the Braves. 8 innings, a 7-hit shutout ball, and only 1 hit allowed after the 3rd inning.
1-3 ball count in 8 innings. And barring a 9th inning comeback, he'll go to 9-2 in 12 career starts against the Braves. Well, you see plenty of fastballs from Familia too, but they'll be a little stiffer than Bartolo's.
Yes, the nature of those fastballs is different.
Yes. Garcia leads off the 9th. And rips one over David Wright, and that's headed for the left field corner. Adonis Garcia has another multi-hit game. That's his 8th of the year. And the Braves have something cooking in the 9th.
Boy, what a good swing he put on this. He's just been swinging the bat, as Freddie Gonzalez has said. His position is hitter.
Funny thing about that closer spot, when it's not a save situation, sometimes it's a whole different ball game. See what the Braves can do with Familia. Runner at second, none out. AJ held up. 1 ball, no strikes.
Slider and a split, also part of Familia's repertoire. Fastball 94 to 97. AJ's had some good swings tonight.
AJ's 1 for 3 against this guy. Let's see if he can pick up another hit and spoil the Mets' shutout bid. One ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss.
That's 2 in a row down and away like that with some gas on it. 94 plus and had some sinking action. Boy, that might have been the split. Boy, that angle's cool from field level.
Reed Brignac 0 for 3 tonight. Ball 1. Braves made 7 roster moves today. Brignac 1 of 4, brought up from Gwinnett, including tonight's starter Mike Foltynewicz. Gave up 8 hits in 3 2/3 innings.
That's the most moves I can remember in one day.
Away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I mean, in some ways it's like making a big trade.
Yeah, good point.
Tuiasosopo waiting for his opportunity. Big strong guy with power.
Strike 2. Ground ball towards second. Walker's got it. Runner to third. 2 outs. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.TV for details. Ibar 1 for 3. That hit came in the second inning. Braves had him at first and third with 1 out. But the pitcher hitting 8th. Foltynewicz bunted into a sacrifice. Malik Smith struck out, and that was that. Line drive into right center field. A base hit will spoil the shutout. Ibar brings home Garcia. It's a 4-1 game.
It's interesting that Familia called Plawecki out before the Ibar at bat, perhaps to talk to him about how he knows Ibar and wants to pitch him. Fastball away. And he just stroked it to right center. So whatever they discussed about how to pitch him, they messed up.
So no shutout for New York tonight, and Kelly Johnson will step into the box. 4-1 game. And Kelly shoots one to left on his first pitch, and the Mets beat Atlanta in game one. 4-1 is tonight's final score. Bartolo Colon was magnificent, and the Mets with 3 more home runs, all of them in the first inning, more than enough to win the series opener. 2 hours and 31 minutes our time of game. We'll wrap it up for you in a minute.